everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to talk to you about Coppa, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. And I am not a lawyer. I want to make sure you understand that. I am not here to give you any legal advice at all. What I am hoping to do is ease your mind by reading you some actual information and giving you some things to think about so that you can make the right decision for your channel. And this is aimed mostly at the crafters that are making YouTube channels. And I am a crafter, and I've been talking with several of them, and it seems like it is a tough decision because crafters, their stuff is family friendly, as they like to call it. It's not bad. There's nothing bad in it. It should be okay for kids to watch. But you know what? I don't think it's okay. I know my channel's not, and I don't have anything vulgar in my channel at all. It's not what people consider adult content, okay? But my videos are also not aimed at children under the age of 13. But we'll get into that here in a minute. So before we start talking about the content of your channel, because I know the content of crafters' channels. So before we start that, I'm actually going to be reading you some important information. And this is official information. So the first thing you need to know is that Coppa has been around for years. This is not new, okay? This has been around for years. So, the only thing that is really, I guess, upsetting everybody right now is the update on Friday, November 22nd, 2019. And so they had released information to help YouTube creators. And let me read this to you. What if my content is applicable to a wide audience, but not kids specifically? Okay, that's where crafters come in because, it's a wide audience and it's family friendly. Okay, well, as the creator, you know your content best. If you intend to reach a kid audience, it's likely that your video is made for kids. If you're not sure about your audience, take a look at the features of your video. Does it have actors, characters, activities, games, songs, or stories that are kids particularly attracted to? If so, your video may be directed to kids. I'm going to stop there for a minute and tell you that my videos have none of that. And none of the crafters that I personally know have any of that. Okay? The key is to balance all of Coppa specified factors that apply to this analysis. For example, the fact that a kid is featured in a video does not necessarily mean that that video is made for kids. You will have to look at all other attributes of the video, like the intended audience. I'm going to stop there. Intended audience. Keep that in mind, because I personally am not making my videos for kids that are 12 and under. I am not aiming my video at an 8-year-old, okay? So keep this in mind. Whether the video uses language that is intended for kids to understand, not really, and the subject matter of the video. A medical video versus a play video. For further information on whether content is kid-directed, see the FTC's guidance. You should also consider consulting a lawyer if you aren't sure whether your content should be designated as made for kids. Okay, let me move on to the next page. According to the FTC's guidance on Coppa, a video is child-directed, which we will call made for kids, if children are the primary audience based on the factors described below. Children are not the primary audience, but the video is still directed to children based on the factors below. When deciding whether or not your channel or video is made for kids, you should consider various factors, including subject matter of the video. For example, is it educational content for preschoolers? whether children are your intended or actual audience for the video, whether the video includes child actors or models, whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures, whether the language of the video is intended for children to understand, whether the video includes activities that appeal to children, such as play acting, simple songs or games, or early education, whether the video includes songs, stories, or poems for children. That's a lot of information, and I'm actually going to have links below in the description box where you can find all of this. I'm also going to have a couple of links below to a couple of videos that I have watched, one that was put out by YouTube and one that was put out by someone that claims to be a lawyer. And you can check those out as well. Now, with all of that said, all of you crafters out there, think about your videos. Are you really aiming toward those kids that are 12 years old and under? Or are you aiming at adults, and those adults can then do those activities with their kids if they want to? There's a difference, really. There's a difference between, being family friendly and being aimed at kids. And I'm going to give you some examples of my own, okay? If I'm making a card and I'm going to be doing some heat embossing, do you really think I am directing my video at an 8-year-old child to use a heat gun where they can burn themselves or set their house on fire? I don't think so. Okay? Do I want them to use a craft iron? No. Do I want them to be using scissors unsupervised or paper trimmers, which I've actually cut myself numerous times on? No. I am not aiming toward them. These activities may be acceptable for them in an adult supervised situation, but I am not aiming toward those kids. I am not talking to those kids. I am not using child language talking to them. I'm explaining things to adults. I'm showing them how to make cards. I'm showing them how to upcycle things. I'm showing them how to make home decor items. And I'm using craft supplies that I don't think children under 12 should have or be using unsupervised at all. So my videos never have been and never will be aimed at kids ages 12 and under. No way. In fact, you're all worried about getting sued if the whole Coppa thing, you're going, oh, if I do my video wrong, I'm going to get sued. We're going to talk about that in a minute because I have information on that. But I want you to think of something else. You're worried about Coppa? How about a parent? If you're aiming your videos toward a kid and that kid gets a heat gun and burns themselves or burns the house down, do you think you're not going to get sued by that parent? Forget Coppa. You've got parents to worry about. So you need to really think, is my video actually aimed at kids? Or is my video, family friendly and all, aimed at adults? And those adults can make decisions on whether they want to do these activities with their kids or not. And a lot of my activities are just not for kids that age. Kids can make cards, but, they fold a card in half and they use some Elmer's glue and they use some construction paper. They're not using alcohol inks and distress inks and embossing powders with heat guns and, other adhesives that maybe they shouldn't be using. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to decide, is my video for kids or not for kids? Don't get all caught up in the family friendly or this isn't adult content. Don't get caught up in that. You need to really think, is this aimed at kids? Is that the audience I am looking for? Think about it. Okay, now I'm going to read you the real scary part because I've had people that have totally freaked out. Let me see if I can find it here. I have had people that have totally freaked out. Oh my God, we're going to be sued $42,000 or more and we're going to end up, totally broke. And oh my God, we can't do this anymore. That is something to be afraid of. If you're making the wrong choices, that is something to be afraid of. And before I read this, I'll just tell you that my interpretation of everything I've heard in the videos and everything I've read, what they're really concerned about is people that are making videos that are actually for kids, with the games and the songs and whatever the situation is, the educational stuff. But that because if it is marked for kids, they're going to lose the monetization on their videos and they're not going to be making any money. Commenting will be taken away. There's all of these things, and those people are going, we don't want to lose that stuff. We're going to say our videos are not for kids. Those are the people they're looking for, the people that are violating this by saying that even though it is for kids, they're saying it's not for kids because they want to make the money. But we're talking things that are absolutely for kids, not your crafting that is absolutely for adults. But I'm going to read you about the penalties, okay? What are the penalties for violating the rule? A court can hold operators who violate the rule liable for civil penalties of up to $42,530. Keep in mind the word up to, and it doesn't matter because you're going, yeah, but even if it was $25,000, oh my God. Okay. The amount of the civil penalties a court assesses may turn on a number of factors, including a word I cannot pronounce, but I will try, egregious. Okay, what it means is outstanding, bad, or shocking. Okay, I looked it up. I looked it up. Anyway, so it depends on how bad or how outstanding or how shocking that the violation is. Whether the operator has previously violated the rule, the number of children involved, the amount and type of personal information collected, how the information was used, whether it was shared with third parties, the size of the company, the information about the FTC's Coppa enforcement actions, including the amounts of civil penalties obtained, can be found by blah, 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 going to their thing. Okay, so what we've read here is, first of all, I have heard that you will get a warning first. And like they said, the number, or if you've previously violated before. I mean, it happens with anything. If you've been previously in trouble for one thing and you get in trouble for it again in the real world, whether it's a speeding ticket or whatever, I mean, it gets worse as time goes on, each violation. And the number of children involved. We don't have any children involved. Type of personal information collected. I'm not collecting any information on children. I'm not using their information. I'm not sharing these children's information. I did some reading on that, and they were talking about getting email addresses and names and addresses and all of that kind of stuff from kids. We're not asking any of that from any of these kids because there's not kids on mine. But, we're not asking this information. So you need to not really panic unless you are truly violating these laws in a, really bad way and in a shocking way. We're not. I mean, it's up to you. If you want to put yours as for kids, make sure it's for kids and make sure that you're not showing them how to use a heat gun or a craft iron or something sharp or something toxic. Really, you're a crafter. We use those kind of things in all of our videos. We use those things every day. You don't want those things to be in a made for kids video. So you may have to change what you use in your videos if you want it to be made for kids. And if you're going to say that it is not made for kids, then you need to not be aiming it at kids. And I haven't watched any of my craft videos from anybody that are, but there's probably a lot of you out there that maybe do have things aimed at kids. Specifically, let me show you little kids how to make this. Let me show you how to do this. And I'm going to talk to you like you're a little kid, and I'm going to explain to you exactly how to fold this piece of paper. Okay? So if you're aiming it at kids, then aim it at kids specifically without anything harmful in it. And if you're just doing a regular craft video aimed at adults, keep it aimed at adults. And if they want to use it with their kids, that's great. That's up to them. Parents need to use their own discretion on that. So with all of the facts that I have read to you that I got off from the website, I should know the name of the website, but it's the one with all the Coppa information and the rules and the links to click on and all of that, which I will have a link below so that you can go see all this for yourself. But with all of the information I've given you and with can't even talk straight, food for thought that I've given you about what you actually have on your channels and what you don't have on your channels, and, you know, who your audience is and who your audience isn't. I truly hope that this has eased your mind, honestly, and that it has helped you make a decision on what you need to do for your channel. And for me personally, I am also going to be including a disclaimer on my videos stating that they are for adults only. I'm going to put it right out there out front. This is made for adults. You can do the same thing if you want to make sure that everyone knows that this is for adults. But that's up to you. I'm going to do what's right for me, and I know what I'm going to do. And you need to do what's right for you. And I wish you the best of luck with that. And happy crafting, everyone, even though this wasn't a crafting video, but it is aimed at crafters, and I really want you all to just keep crafting out there and keep making your videos without having to be scared. Bye-bye, everyone.